I'm Kendra Ruczak. I'm here at View Conference 2024 with Amy Smeed, Head of Animation for Moana 2 at Walt Disney Animation Studios. Thank you so much for being here today, Amy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was so wonderful to see your presentation about Moana 2 and such an exciting preview.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd love to hear a little bit about how you launched your career and took an interest in fine arts to your current role at Disney.
Sure. I studied at the School of the Art Institute. I was very interested in fine arts. And about my third year in school, I ended up taking a class in animation and totally falling in love with the storytelling aspect of that. And so I started shifting my career over into animation. And then my first film at Disney was Dinosaur, but my first film as a character animator, I went through the training program on Chicken Little and then was promoted to an assistant animator and then an animator on Chicken Little. And then I've been animating ever since.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you brought some amazing characters to life. I know the VES recognized you as a nomination for Rapunzel and Tangled.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that character and how you brought her to life?
Sure, yeah, that was a very special project to me. I was so excited to finally get to work on a Disney princess film. And I think Rapunzel as a character was always just, I loved her irrepressible spirit and everything about her. So for us, I was a fairly new animator at the time, trying to think if that was my fourth or fifth project. And it was very honored to be nominated. I was nominated with 3 other animators, so there were a total of 4 of us that were nominated as a group.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And I know that you also were the head of animation for Moana. So what have you seen change from Moana to Moana 2, especially in terms of technology and how it's affected the animation pipeline?
Oh, sure. So technology, and this will sound silly, I was talking about this earlier. I'm sure there are many advancements in things like the ocean water that I'm not as familiar with, just in my little world of character animation. We're always evolving our character rigs, so that's something that over time we keep building on top of each other. And then for this one, ropes are always just such a huge challenge. So there are some extra time spent on ropes because with sailing, there are lots of ropes in this film. And even though they're still a little bit challenging to animate, they're easier than our first film.
Oh, wow, that's nice to hear. Yeah. And how do you communicate with your team? How do you keep that collaborative spirit going? I'm sure there's so many people that are involved in this.
Yeah, as when you're supervising, we spend about a year in pre-production on an average film. We're working really closely with our modelers, which are the sculptors, as well as our riggers as we're building the digital skeleton. That process takes so long, and we have team meetings where we get together with the whole character asset team, which is what we call it. Usually the character designer is there as well, and we start building that character together. It's one of the things I love about working with Disney is that it's so collaborative. And then once it begins in animation, we're very influenced, obviously, by what's happening in the story and how our characters might evolve from that aspect of it. And my day-to-day as a head of animation is spent a lot of times with the director in our animation dailies, with basically animators coming to present their work to the directors. And then we will spend time in our animation rounds meeting, which is basically meeting with the animators to make sure they're addressing all the feedback. And then we're also giving them notes such as maybe expressions or making sure a character like Moana is staying on model. Because we have so many animators working on our films. Even in the computer, our characters can get off model. So just making sure that no matter who's animating, it still looks like Moana.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Are there any other storytelling challenges that you've run into with the sequel? Any exciting things you can talk about in terms of?
Sure. I think with storytelling, just making sure that Moana is staying true to her character. There are some subtle differences because she is now 3 years older. She's always been, to me, a very confident character, but I think now she's been a leader for her community for the last 3 years. And how does that affect someone in, say, like their body language? How do they stand? So there's subtle differences. I was mentioning earlier, and this is something Kevin and I would talk about. He's my partner on Moana 2, where Moana might be out on her heels, ready to spring in action on the first one, where now she might be set more back on her heels with that confidence before she springs into action. So subtle differences, but she's more mature now, I would say as well. So
the subtle differences go a long way in terms of storytelling.
Yeah. But we really wanted to make sure that she's still being the same authentic Moana that she was in the first one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have any career advice you'd like to share, especially for women who are interested in a career in animation?
Sure. I would say be brave and bold and take risks just like Moana. She was a huge inspiration just to me, who I am as a person. And I think just studying the craft of animation and the craft of performance and acting is so important in this field. You can study from other animated films, you can study live action performances, but always looking for entertaining choices. And we love when animators are coming with an unexpected but really great choice. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. And I'm so excited to see the full film when it comes out.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And check out the rest of our content from View Conference 2024.